Well, you're probably waiting for the show to start. Well, I can understand that. And trust me, you were in the right place. But before we start the show, we got to let you know that today's show is brought to you by a very special and new sponsor to the show. None other than Southern New Hampshire University. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And you know I'm excited about it. Number one, because they're doing a great thing in terms of helping people overcome, some of the experience barriers that are holding people back, right? And we know that that comes up a lot as we progress through this professional world and just adulthood, right? So with SNHU, the beautiful part about them is this. They are designed for people like you and me, man. The ones that are busy, but can make some time to be on the online space and, multitask, so to speak. And that is what SNHU brings to the table. The largest, or one of the largest, accredited nonprofit online degree offerings. Man, it is a dope thing that they got going on over there. One of the programs that stood out to me the most is their sports management program, in terms of being able to, number one, work at your own pace. They have multiple times throughout the year where you're able to get into the course and ultimately progress through at your own speed, 24/7 access. I mean, those are beautiful things, especially when we're just talking about the working person, the busy person, the person with the family out there. SNHU. Oh, they trying to hook you up. They trying to help you out, baby. Now, like I said, for myself, man, I've utilized the online program very similar to this, and I can tell you firsthand the benefits that come from these type of programs and what SNHU is offering, man. You don't want to miss out on it. So check out the link, all right? snhu.edu/Arthur Moats, all right? You check that out. Obviously, this is all in the description as well. But I want you to check that out, man. Look at that sports management program and just see some of the average salaries associated with degrees in this field, man. Could definitely be something that might motivate you, make you want to go out there and do something special out there and, ultimately put yourself on an even better trajectory. But with that being the case, you see right here, SNHU, Southern New Hampshire University. I stand by them. And as always, keep being great. But now I think it's time to get back to the show. So, you already know, don't touch that dial, baby. Our fearless leader, head coach Mike Tomlin, has officially signed a 3-year contract extension with the Pittsburgh Steelers that was announced while we were out there golfing it up, man, having a little fun. Maybe that's why I didn't get my I should have hit me a better shot one of these times, man. I got distracted. That's what it was. Otherwise, we would have won, bro. We would have won. But shout out to Coach Tito, man. 3-year contract extension with the Pittsburgh Steelers, keeping him in Pittsburgh as the head coach until the year 2027. My dog, how you feel about it?
Good move. I don't have a bad thing to say about it. If you want to look at the other side of it, though, could the Steelers organization have just let this year play out and do the contract extension or work the contract afterwards, given how these last couple seasons haven't been completely up to snuff? Almost just, hold the feet to the fire a little bit. Just, hey, we'll let this contract play out, just like we're going to let, presumably, a lot of these contracts play out with the players. Like, let's just see how this whole thing looks for 2024, and then we'll make decisions. Like, from a business standpoint, I would understand that. Yeah. Completely understand that. But I also, I just like the deal. I think Tomlin's a good coach, and if Rooney wants him around anyway, if you're already looking at him and you view him as part of your future plans, like, why not show him how much you appreciate him and value him a year before the contract runs out? So, yeah, I'm good with it. I'm completely good with it. I think he's a good coach. I like that we got the new coaching staff here with Arthur Smith and even some of these other like offensive staffers, like the receiver coach, the QB coach, and stuff. Yeah, we got a new QB coach.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we got a whole rack of because
we got a new receiver coach,
young receiver coach, QB coach, and
Yeah, Sullivan's back, but he's just doing something random. Yeah.
Because the QB coach is the young boy, not young boy, excuse me, young coach. Let me pull him up. He was a newer cat. I want to say he came from the not Chargers. Let me see where he.
The one dude's name's Tom Arth. I know.
Yeah.
Azini, another one is like Azini or something.
I'm trying to pull up their names so I don't butcher them. You know how that go. Technology going
But
technology.
I like bringing them on. We got Smith because I think that's the one thing I would critique Tomlin on over the last 6-7 years is the coaching staff that he hired under him, and that was Matt Canada and, in my opinion, prioritizing him.
Tom Arth, the quarterback's coach. Zach Azani, wide receivers coach. Eddie Faulkner still running backs coach, and then Mike Sullivan's our senior offensive assistant now. That's his new title.
Yeah,
and he has offensive assistant and Matt Baker as well. And then we had a lot of new cats come on to the coaching staff this offseason.
Yeah, I think that's my one big critique on Tomlin is having Canada here for as long as he did, and making the decision to hire him as a coordinator. But I do think Tomlin's resume provides him some benefit of the doubt to try to right the ship. I mean, people make mistakes, right? Like let's give him a chance to right it. And this offseason, I think we have laid out a good blueprint to get things back on track. No matter how you want to spin it, Tomlin's a Hall of Fame coach. So my question is to like the Tomlin haters or the Tomlin detractors is what's the grand solution for the next 4 years then? No. We just gave him a contract extension. He's going to be here till 2027. Like, what's your better option for head coach from now till 2027 outside of Mike Tomlin? Maybe you could say Andy Reid. You could say like Sean McVay or one of those guys, but
they're already employed.
They're not available. So Tomlin versus Coach X that may be available next offseason, that may be available in 2 offseasons. Like, I'll bet my money on Coach T because I know I'm getting the floor of 9 wins no matter what. Mm-hmm. He's proven that, and that's with some chaos. And some of it maybe self-inflicted with the Canada hire, but with quarterback situations in flux, defensive injuries, and us having a bunch of no-name dudes out there, like there's some games we win and you're just like, how? Like that's one of the things Tomlin does bring to the table. I know we want to talk about Tomlin losses all the time, but there's some Tomlin wins where you're just like, how the hell? How the hell? We were huge underdogs going into this game, like the Brady Buccaneers game at Heinz Field a couple years. Who the hell did we have playing a cornerback? We had Mitch coming in midway through the game too. Like that was an unreal win. But yeah, he's a good coach, and I'm happy he's around. And I like that. I again, whenever you look at what we could have done versus what we did do, I actually like what we did here. But I also would have understood to just let's let the contract play out. Let's see how this season goes with all these moving pieces and stuff. Because there were talks last year, when we were 7-7, and things were looking really bleak. Fire Tomlin. Should Tomlin be on the hot seat?
That Patriots, Cardinals, that little run.
Yeah. Like that was bad.
Was on,
like, there's been some bad moments. There's been some bad stretches over the last 6 or 7 years. But we can't completely just hold on to the past and just say, hey, all right, this is what happened. Like, we have no chance of righting the ship or getting things going in a better direction going forward. My money's on Tomlin versus option X or option Y, whatever other option that people have out there. But I think it's a good move. I'm happy about it. I'm really happy about it. And the other thing, I'm just rambling here.
You're good, bro. I like when you talk, man.
Yeah, no. I'll let you talk. And
hey, bro, you're getting
another
it,
minute
man.
here.
Get it, go.
Another reason. There's actually two more reasons I like this. One is we ensure that Tomlin's going to be here and not elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. That's real.
I'm being serious.
All right, that's real.
I don't know. Maybe if we do go like the business approach and go the more like cool-hearted approach and say, hey, like Tomlin, we're gonna see how this season plays out. Like I don't want to give you any extra security. Then he takes that in a bad way and say the season goes well. He's gonna be like, man, you guys didn't believe in me before the season. Like let me just check out somewhere else. Yeah. But I don't think that's how we operate.
Right.
I don't think that's how Rooney operates. I think him and Tomlin have a great relationship, and I think this contract extension reflects that. And we've been very much about loyalty and like that family element when it comes to coaches, as seen by us only having 3 since like 1969, I think, whenever Chuck Noll was hired.
Yeah.
But the other thing is too, I do think Tomlin has like that recruiting factor that people want to overlook. Not necessarily anything that he's doing, like he's not tampering with players or anything, but A lot of players want to play for Mike Tomlin.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. Like, I don't know if we're getting Russ this offseason if Coach T wasn't here. I don't know if we're getting Justin Fields the way that we did if Coach T wasn't here. And, like, think of the whole Justin Fields scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields, at that point, looks at our roster. We already have Russ. And he tells the Bears, I still want to go to the Steelers.
Yeah.
And I think Coach T's a big part of that. So everyone that was clamoring for Fields this offseason, like, you could thank Coach T for getting him. He's part of it, no? He's definitely a part of it. And then you got Micah Parsons saying, yeah, I want to play for the Cowboys my whole life. But if things don't work out, the one guy I want to play for, the one team I want to play for is the Steelers. Like, there's a Tomlin effect. Patrick Queen coming here for less than market value. So, yeah, I think it's a good move. I'm pumped about it.
Let's go. No, absolutely, man. You hit it right on the head. He is a big draw for a lot of free agents, man. I know that was a big draw for me coming over here from Buffalo. It's like, yo, you understand what he represents. Anybody that's played for him and you talk to them, you hear how they always speak of him. Even the guys that didn't even have success with him, you still listen to how they speak about him, how he commands the room, his leadership, how he challenges them. You know, that's the thing that I always loved about Coach Tomlin. It's not just about football. It's more than that, man. He's teaching you how to be a man. He's teaching you how to win at life. And that was one of the things that I always, hold in high value or high regard when I think back on him. But 100%, man, you have recruitment, man. It's so many guys that you hear in free agency that talk about, man, I remember when I talked to Coach Tomlin in the Combine. I mean, when I met him at the Senior Bowl. I mean, when I saw him, after a game in passing. Everybody has those type of stories about Coach T because a lot of us love what he represents and how he does it. But then after that, you talk about just by NFL standards, right? What is a successful coach? Well, a successful coach is a coach that is able to win in the regular season, to give yourself an opportunity to make it to the postseason, because the postseason is never guaranteed. You don't get to make it to the playoffs just because you're in the NFL. No, you got to win a certain amount of games. That's the prerequisite. And he has shown throughout his 17 seasons as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers that he is arguably one of the best to do that. I mean, we could obviously bring up the stat that a lot of people like and a lot of people don't like, which is 17 seasons, never had a losing season. First NFL coach or only NFL coach in NFL history to never have a losing season. That includes all of your favorite coaches as well. So, he brings that to the table also. Has he had big winning? Yeah, he's won a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been in 3 AFC championships and has won the division countless times. So by all of those metrics, if we're just simply comparing NFL coaches and we're saying, man, what is deemed as success versus not success, he most certainly falls under the successful line, right? Full body of work. But then when you even talk about just some of the, micro type stuff, right? This past season, 3 different quarterbacks. This past season, 2 different coordinators. This past season, different play callers on game day, right? Still found a way to do what? Get us to the postseason. Now, I did see somebody bring up in the chat, and I'm sure it's multiple of y'all, but they brought up we ain't won a playoff game yet. We ain't won a playoff game. We want to win another playoff game. My only issue with that specifically is this. Y'all say that the standard is the standard and that it's Super Bowl or bust. So if it's Super Bowl or bust, what is the difference of you winning a wild card game and then losing the divisional round? Or you make it to the divisional round, but you lose? Because we say the standard is Super Bowl or bust, right? That's all I'm saying. So I do see people say that part. Man, we ain't had no playoff. We ain't had no playoff win. But it's like, yo, would you have still been bringing that up even if we did have 1 playoff win, but we lost the next round? Because we say that we want Super Bowls. So if that is what we are holding it to, well, we make sure we hold every coach to that, including the ones that were here before him as well. And that's the part where it's like, yo, let's not move the goalpost with this thing. Whatever we're going to say is the metric that we're going to compare him to others, or why we want to justify not giving him extension or firing him, which is what some people did one at a time last year. That's the only part that I want to know. How can we make it all apples to apples and not, oh, it's an apple for Coach T, but it's an orange for Bill Cowher. Oh, it's an apple for Coach T, but it's an orange for Chuck No. That's hey, Bill Belichick gets this one, Andy Reid gets that one. No, if we're gonna hold it to the standard, let's hold it to that standard then. But if we're not, and we're actually gonna look at this with a little bit more of a just, everything all clean, no biasness one way or the other, I think we would all agree that Coach Tomlin is still one of the best coaches in the NFL right now. We could do the whole ranking things, and I'm sure at some point, whether it's this week or next week, we'll do the whole, hey, man, where does Coach Tomlin rank in the NFL as a head coach? You're not going to have this long list of coaches in front of him. Not that are proven, at least.
I think there's only one you could say definitively
Andy Reid,
right
bro.
now. And
Andy Reid.
The only reason you're saying him is because he's got Mahomes.
That's about it. Because you weren't saying that when he was in Philly the last couple of years before he got over there. Or you weren't saying that before Patrick Mahomes took over in Kansas City either. So that's my only thing. I'm just like, yo, let's just keep it consistent, man.
McVay would be the only other guy I think you could bring into the conversation.
Yeah, and McVay, because of the recency, right? He had a Super Bowl early. He has been in the postseason, right? But he still has a long way to go for his track record to reflect Coach Tomlin. And that's the other part of this thing. We also know it's a quarterback-driven league. So when you bring up Andy Reid, shout out to Andy, but he does have Pat Mahomes. When you bring up Sean McVay, he's won a Super Bowl with the number one overall, or he went to a Super Bowl with the number one overall pick, Jared Goff, who we saw just obviously break the bank again. And then he won it with who? Matt Stafford, who we said, now, man, yeah, you can make a case. He might be in that Hall of Fame class now, man.
He has some stars on defense too. AD, Jalen,
no.
like the GM and how they structured that. Like that team was.
I'm not even getting
set
on that.
up.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking specifically the quarterback, though.
Yeah.
He had a number one overall pick who's gotten to a Super Bowl and then led a team to an NFC Championship game, right? And then he has another guy who won a Super Bowl who, like we said, is fringe Hall of Fame caliber. Those are two different caliber quarterbacks than what we've had these past couple of years. That's all I'm saying. Now, when 7 was here, Coach T won a ton, and Coach T was in them same conversations as these other dudes. But it is a quarterback-driven league, and that is the one thing that I also look at and say, in spite of us not having that guy just yet, since 7, and some people would say, man, the last year or two of 7. But however we want to slice it, he still had this team in them postseasons in contention every single time. And that's the other part where I say, yeah, if you're going to tell me I don't have the answer at quarterback, but I'm still figuring out ways to make it where I'm relevant and I'm on this door every single time and I'm losing to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs in Buffalo. Oh, man, we should crucify Coach Tomlin for having Mason Rudolph go up into that stadium and lose that game, right? Hey, man, we lost to Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. So, hey, man, Coach T, man, you suck because you lost to Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Now, if we want to do the whole Baker Mayfield, Cleveland Browns loss, sure, we can do that one.
The two losses recently, it's that Browns one and the Jaguars
so
one.
We're bringing up a Jags one that go back from 2017. You catch what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the whole stretch without playoff wins, yeah.
Yeah, but that's my thing,
Those
man.
are the two, yeah.
No. So, my thing is this, though, baby. We're going to find
but
out,
it's
though, going forward, and I do feel like right now, they've done the part to get the pieces in place.
Yeah.
I think now the question shifts to, we got 3 years. We need to have one of these make a run in these 3. That's how I looked at this thing now. But it has to have some type of impact because now we don't have that excuse at quarterback anymore, at least from my perspective. Now, you can still justify it and say, hey, man, the likelihood of Russ or Fields actually hitting versus them busting, it's more likely that they'd be a bust than a hit because just when you think about the overall NFL, right, how many quarterbacks actually are like that and consistently do it, right? Regular season, postseason. More times than not, they fall, right? And then when we actually seen a guy come up there and he's falling off more times than like they don't get back. But we do feel like, with Russ, it is a little bit different. We do feel like with Fields, there is a little something special there. So that's the part where we lean more optimism with it. But there is a legitimate part where, you can make a case, hey, man, I don't know about these guys either. But at the end of the day, this personnel grouping in that room is way better than what he's had the past couple of years. So that's why, to me, I look at it and say, man, if it doesn't happen in this window, you can't make any other reasons or justifications for that now.
Well, I think what it shows is that even if this year doesn't go as planned, like we're still sticking with Tomlin, like we're still prioritizing you to take another hack at the quarterback position this offseason, like whoever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm good with that. I'm completely good with that. Like, and that would be the last run then.
It would.
Like,
That's what it's like. It's
like,
in this
okay,
3-year window, bro.
Okay,
Yeah.
you had your chance with Pickett here. Like that's who the first round pick was a couple years ago. Moved off him. We're going with Russ, the combo of Russ Fields.
Yeah.
If this works out, great. Like we're rolling. But if this doesn't work out, we'll give you one more chance. And you got like a 3-year run with this new pick, whatever it is. If you get through free agency trade, and then we'll see how that goes. And yeah, maybe if that doesn't work out, then it's time.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be an indictment. And I've always said this: if we ultimately at some point moved on from Tomlin, I don't think it's an indictment on him not being a good coach. Maybe it's just it's stale, and both sides need to move on.
And that could also be the case.
And yeah, I was saying that like even before the extension, like end of last year when people were talking about the 7-7 and those bad losses and stuff, I was like, no, we should still run with Tomlin, give him one more year, because I compared his records to Cowers and Chuck Knowles, like regular season, like both Bill and Chuck have had worse stretches of seasons, like losing seasons, and they were still given opportunities. So I'm like, I don't know why we wouldn't do the same with Tomlin. Like he hasn't had the best of things at play here for this year.
Yeah.
Speaking of 2023 with the quarterbacks and injuries and all that stuff, like, and then we see how it played out after we were 7-7. We put Mason in. We finished 10-7. Go to the playoffs. It's like maybe we just needed some better quarterback play. Yeah, and we're a 12-5 team or 13-4 team last year. Maybe it's as simple as that. Yeah. So yeah, you see what we got in place for just this upcoming season. I don't see us having a bad year with Russ and Arthur Smith and the new offensive line, and hopefully, I mean, for defense, we just got to stay healthy. I mean, that's what killed us last year, because if Quan and Cole stay healthy, I think our defense is a lot better down the stretch too. But yeah, he's a good coach, man. Like he's a good coach. He's got like still at least 10, 15 years of prime coaching left, and I don't really see a better option out there.
I'm with you, man.
If you want to take a chance on the unproven or like the young guru, fine, but I don't think your chances of it working out are as good as you think.
And for some of those people, man, that's the grass is green on the other side of the fence people. There's nothing wrong with it, because, hey, man, you could be right. There is a chance that could be the case. And I'm sure people would say, hey, Coach Tomlin at one point was the unknown grass on the other side of the fence guy. You're right. And it worked out. But let's also go back and let's look at how many other of these first opportunity coaches have had the same type of success. We're going to bring up McVay. We'll probably say Taylor, right? Zach Taylor to an extent in Cincy.
I think he's just got Burrow.
That's a very legitimate part.
No, I mean, he had him relevant last year with the Browning. I think he's pretty good. Went to a Super Bowl. I get he had Burrow and everything, but
yeah, I mean, he's been to a Super Bowl, been to an AFC Championship.
He's a solid coach.
Yeah,
I'll say he's a solid coach.
So that's my thing, man. But we're gonna see, D'Amico Ryan. We're gonna see, can they replicate this? Right? We want to see, can you do it more than just once? Because like you said, he's on year 17, going on year 18 now, and he's still been cooking. So that's the fun part, man. But y'all hit that like button if y'all was enjoying the convo. Now we're gonna get the homie TG in on this as well.